Hey babies, welcome back to another Modern League. This week we're playing Black-White Tokens. The deck list is on screen now and in the description below, and let's get into the deck tech. Starting off with our token generators, we have 2 enchantments. We're playing 2 of each of them, Legion's Landing and Bitter Blossom, both of which can make repeatable tokens over the course of a game. We have 4 Lingering Souls, 4 Spectral Procession, and 2 Battle Screech. All of these cards are 1 rectangle that generate multiple rectangles. Lingering Souls and Battle Screech even have flashback. For hand disruption, we're playing 3 copies of Inquisition of Kozilek, 2 copies of Thoughtseize, and 2 copies of Collective Brutality, which segues us into our next section, Removal. We have 4 copies of Prismatic Ending, which our mana base can actually support up to Converge 4, 2 copies of Fatal Push, and 1 copy of Vindicate. We have 2 copies of Kai's Gaia, which is Removal, Graveyard Hate, a way to generate a token and life gain all in one. We have 4 copies of Intangible Virtue as a way to make all of our tokens stronger and give them vigilance, and we have 2 copies of Sorin, which plays the role of an Anthem effect with lifelink and a token generator all in one. In our mana base, we have 4 copies of Concealed Courtyard, 4 copies of Marsh Flats, and 1 copy of Flooded Strand, 3 Godless Shrines, 1 Savai Triome, and 1 Indatha Triome, 2 copies of Shambling Vent as a manland that helps us stay alive under our own Bitter Blossom, 2 copies of Field of Ruin as a way to disrupt our opponent's Tron lands and Urza Sagas, and a Vault of the Archangel, which can give all of our tokens Death Touch and Lifelink. And then finally, we have 4 basic plains and 1 basic swamp. In our sideboard, we've got 2 copies of Duress, 3 copies of Rest in Peace, and 2 Stony Silence, 2 copies of Void Mirror, 1 copy of Dam, and 1 Kaya Orzhov Usurper, 1 copy of Timely Reinforcements, 1 Vindicate, and 2 copies of Settled Wreckage. Alright, that does it for the deck tech. Let's get into the games and see how we do. Alright, round 1. We won the die roll. Playing Black-White Tokens in Modern. We have 3 lands, we have mana fixing. This seems pretty keepable. We're playing against a Yorion deck. We'll see how that goes. We'll keep our hand. I don't really have a turn 2 play right now, so I think I want to go Marsh Flats, get a basic plains and play Legion's Landing, and then plan on playing Shambling Vent on 2. Get a token, pass the turn. Opponent plays Wooded Foothills, cracks it. Gets a Temple Garden. Plays Noble Hierarch. Good target for our Prismatic End. And that gives us something to do this turn. Play Shambling Vent. Attack for 1. Pass the turn. I wonder if this is like the Creature Toolbox Yorion deck. Opponent doesn't do anything and passes. We draw Kaya's Guile. Let's attack. I don't think it's likely that we're going to want to use Kaya's Guile yet, so I think I'm going to go for Lingering Souls, since that could possibly get us to flipping Legion's Landing next turn, and then it feels like we don't miss a land drop. Ice Fang Codal, okay. Opponent plays Wall of Omens. Okie dokie. Yeah, definitely a Creature Toolbox deck. They're playing Yorion, so they could have all kinds of things. We draw Vindicate. Interesting. Let's attack with the team. I think I'm going to Vindicate a land here. Keeping the Yorion deck off of mana as much as possible seems like the best possible line. And they could have forces, but they're playing 80 cards, so it's kind of unlikely. Let's get the dual land. Leave a white mana up. Alright, no force, please. Oh my god, whatever. We didn't need the white mana anyway, but I'm just being a moron how I'm tapping. Sweet. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Foothills. Goes down to 12. I might have a look with Collective Brutality next turn, we'll see. Ephemerates their Wall of Omens to draw some cards, that makes sense. Our opponent's got plenty of cards in hand. Keeping them off of mana might be what keeps us in this game. They don't have green mana currently. I assume they have another fetch land or a forest in hand. Otherwise they would have got green with Wooded Foothills because they're probably mostly banned, if I had to guess. Yep, there's Breeding Pool. Opponent goes down to 8. Opponent passes. We draw Marsh Flats. Let's go ahead and play that. Attack with the boys. Opponent blocks with Wall of Omens, blocks with Icefang Codal. Do I want to just kill the Wall of Omens? It's probably not that important. I'd rather get more of a board, I think. Opponent ephemerates Icefang Codal. Okay. Opponent goes to 7. Let's... So we could flashback Lingering Souls. And then what? Do we just Lingering Souls Spectral Procession? That doesn't seem that bad. It makes a pretty big board at least. I wonder if they have Furies. I'm gonna shock since we have plenty of life right now from all the lifelink. Flashback Lingering Souls. And Procession. Alright, opponent's got a full grip. Let's see what they can do. They have an Ephemerate, so they can draw another card off of either Wall of Omens or Icefang Codal. They draw a card. They have 9 cards in hand. So let's see, if they Fury, they can get rid of 4 things. We still have 4 power. 5, 6. Our opponent didn't play a fetch land, unfortunately. Simic Mana, untapping. Looks like they have an Icefang Codal in their hand again. Opponent's burned through 2 Ephemerates already. Just drawing cards. So it's a bit less likely. Okay, there's another wall. I mean, we only have 1 non-flying creature right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So if we just kill Icefang Codal, we're presenting lethal. Opponent discards down to hand size, passing the turn. So opponent tapped as if they have an Icefang Codal, but I think that might have just been for Wall of Blossoms, but they couldn't cast another one this turn anyway. We draw Marsh Flats. Alright, I'm gonna Collective Brutality escalate. Neg 2, neg 2. And drain. I think. Yeah. Discard Marsh Flats. Alright, let's see if our opponent has the interaction. They did not. Opponent goes to 5. Let's see if they have a bunch of removal. Opponent discarded Felidar Guardian, so it was right about the type of deck they were playing. They have Kiki, Felidar Guardian somewhere. Alright, double blocking our Vampire token, that's fine. And opponent concedes, sweet! Alright, good start to our league. I was pretty unsure about the Yorion deck, but apparently we can get there. I think I want the other Vindicate. I think I might want Void Mirror. We didn't actually see Evoke Elementals. I think I want Dam and Vindicate. I don't know if I want Kaya. I don't know if I want Settle the Wreckage, although it doesn't seem worth it because I'm sure they have plenty of basics. Rest in Peace probably not good enough, although if we lose to Ewid Ephemerate, I'll feel differently about that, I guess. We can cut 1 Battle Screech, cut let's cut both the Legion's landings, and then I will bring in Kaya, because I want to be able to get Ephemerates out of the graveyard and maybe pick off Mana Dorks with it. Because I think the Mana Denial plan is going to be pretty useful again. It's not going to be as good as if we were on the draw, or on the play rather, like we were last game, but against 4 color, needs to get to at least 5 mana type of decks. Mana Denial is usually pretty good. Alright, double Prismatic End, Lingering Souls, Battle Screech. I mean, we got removal / interaction for any non-land permanent, and we have a whole bunch of boys represented in these 2 cards, so I think we gotta keep it. Our opponent hasn't seen our anthems yet, but if they're familiar with black-white tokens, I assume they know that we have them. But we might be able to surprise them with... Yeah, let's go ahead and play Savai Triumph. We might be able to surprise them with Intangible Virtue and get a kill out of nowhere if we draw one. In testing, I had a handful of games where I got multiple Intangible Virtue effects, and that was very powerful, and then I had exactly one game where I got 3 of them. And my opponent was playing a lot of removal, so they fought through it for a long time, but eventually they died to my 4/4s from Bitter Blossom. Opponent plays Charming Prince. Charming Prince is pretty good with Yorion, so I think I might want to Prismatic End that. Opponent scried 1 top, 1 bottom. Yeah, I think I want to go ahead and remove this. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a land. Unfortunately, we don't have a Vindicate for next turn. We could draw one and that would be nice, but it's relatively unlikely. Sorin is a good anthem effect for all these boys, so it's promising. I wonder if our opponent brought in some sort of Wrath effect. I don't really expect that they did, since they're playing a creature-heavy deck. Opponent passes. We draw Spectral Procession, so I say we just go Spectral Procession. Fetch, get Plains, Procession. Pass the turn. Alright, so we need another fetch land if we want to Prismatic End to X4. But other than that, we're in a pretty decent spot. Opponent Icefang Codal and Ephemerates to draw a bunch of cards. Opponent has no issues drawing cards. They're very able to do that. I wonder if I'm going to be able to get Sorin down. Opponent passes. We drew the Endotha Triumph, so we are going to have Prismatic End online soon. Let's play Sorin. It looked like our opponent didn't have a counterspell last turn. So I'm going to check again here. Alright, plus Sorin. I'm going to race to ultimating Sorin because Sorin ult is not actually that far away compared to where it starts. And it is very, very powerful against creature-based decks. Opponent plays Resto. That's terrifying. So they can get 4 damage on Sorin now with that. And they could also just Kiki kill us. If we get unfortunate here. Hopefully we don't get too unlucky. We gain 4, our opponent takes 4 down to 12. Yeah, settle the wreckage on infinite creatures to where they can get all their basics still seems like a bad deal, frankly. So I don't think, because I think you just still lose is the issue. Phyrexian Revoker on Sorin, what an asshole. At least that's not a Kiki kill. Hopefully we draw some removal. Because I'd like to Prismatic End Revoker, but I'd also really like to get this Resto off the board if I can. Opponent needs 1 more red if they want to just straight up play Kiki Cheeky. And they have to also have drawn 1. I can't imagine that they play 4. So, we'll see about that. They probably have Chord of Calling effects somewhere in their deck too. Opponent does not attack Sorin. Alright. Let's play Endotha Triumph. Let's Battle Screech Flashback, I think. That's enough to keep Sorin alive. And we can Prismatic End Resto next turn with our Endotha Triumph. Let's see if it works. Alright, we got a bunch of boys again. Pass the turn, hope for the best. Honestly, I might just Prismatic End, I don't know. Hitting Resto or Phyrexian Revoker is kind of fine. Resto stops them from combo killing us immediately. But if they leave up white, they could just Ephemerate it possibly. I don't know. Opponent taps 4, plays Omnom. Plays a Windswept Heath. Cracks Windswept Heath. Gets a Rogran Triumph. They have Kiki mana for next turn now. Opponent plays Shalai. We are much more limited as to what we can destroy now. So we're still hoping for another removal spell, I think. Opponent has 3 flying creatures. We draw Lingering Souls. Alright, I pretty much have to Prismatic and Shalai here, I think. And I think I'm just going to pass. Because we don't have so many creatures that it's worth suiciding one of them, I don't think. At least if I'm also going to leave up blockers to keep Sorin alive. Although I don't really know why I should bother keeping Sorin alive at this point, but we'll see. Opponent gains some life, goes up to 19. They've almost undone all the damage we've done this game, which is very unfortunate. Let's see if our opponent has the Kiki combo. If they've got it, they've got it. Looks like Chord. Alright, I'm going to make him show it to us, but I'm going to concede once. Yeah, opponent has it. Okay. Cool, cool. We concede. Good old Kiki Chord. That is a very fun deck to play. Let's see, do I want to change anything? Not really. Let's run it back. We do get to be on the play again, so that's nice. Alright, we do take the play. I mean, the hand's pretty solid. We have some interaction and we have a pretty fast clock. So let's keep. I think turn 1 is just... I think turn 1 is just going to be Marsh Flats pass. Plan on getting a Triome. If our opponent plays something I want a Fatal Push, I will get a Godless Shrine instead. That is not something I want a Fatal Push. Crack Marsh Flats. Get Savai Triumph. Untap. We drew another Marsh Flats. That's good news for our Fatal Push. Go ahead and play Intangible Virtue. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Plays a Misty. Cracks it. Plays another Abundant Growth. Okay. They have plenty of mana fixing. They don't have ramp currently, though. Don't want to jinx it. Opponent is thinking about what they want to do. Looks like they might be passing, though. We went to the next main phase, at least. Another abundant growth. That's hilarious. It's really good with Yorion, but it's not mana fixing, at least. Alright, Field of Ruin seems not ideal, currently. We will cast the first half of Lingering Souls. Get 4 power with Vigilance and Flying. Pass the turn. The clock has begun. Opponent shocks in Sacred Foundry. Plays Skyclave Apparition. Damn it, that sucks. Alright, let's see. I think I want to do both halves of Battle Screech this turn. It's not as sexy without the Vigilance, because we would have been able to attack in first. But we get a couple more creatures this way. And I don't think that we're going to be using Fatal Push this turn anyway. So we get 4 birds, we attack for 1. Opponent goes to 15. Pass the turn. Opponent gets to untap. They have 3 mana, very good mana fixing, but they don't have any ramp so far this game, which may be key. Opponent plays Icefang Codal. Okay. I like how they played it off of their basic lands, even though they can tap for any color. It's kind of funny. Opponent passes. Alright, let's... attack with the team. Opponent blocks with Icefang Codal. Do they have Ephemerate? They do have Ephemerate. Alright, do I let them resolve the Ephemerate? It lets them draw cards, but Fatal Push can keep them off the combo. It's probably worth more to us to keep them off the combo, I think. Because as long as we kill them fast enough, the cards in their hand aren't going to matter. And we're still getting a decent amount of damage in. Let's flashback Lingering Souls. Black, white. Play Marsh Flats. Pass the turn. If I had 1 more mana, I would have been able to play Shambling Vent and just keep up Field of Ruin for Fatal Push instead, which would be a little bit better, I think, since Shambling Vent could at least get in that way. Opponent goes to 9. That's like a whole extra token connecting. Opponent rebounds. I mean, at least Apparition can't take more of our stuff. Unfortunately, the few non-tokens that we have, we actually would like to keep around. I wish we had slightly more exciting cards in our hand than just 2 lands and a Fatal Push. 3 spells would feel incredibly strong here. Fatal Push feels like it could go either way. But we do have quite a board, so that's something at least, I guess. If we draw another Intangible Virtue, we're in business. Opponent plays Snow Plains. Okie dokie. Alright, our opponent's thinking real hard, so that at least means that we're not dead, I think. Or at least if we are dead, our opponent has a very complicated line they have to get through. Combat, passes combat. I feel like they should possibly at least attack with Skyclave to have some pressure on us. Alright. We untap. Not going to crack Marsh Flats. We draw Lingering Souls. Interesting. We're definitely signaling that we have a spell if we don't cast both sides of Lingering Souls. But we're already kind of signaling Fatal Push by not cracking the Marsh Flats there. Looks like opponent has a Chord. If Chord gets Resto, we are absolutely just murdering this Resto. Something X4. If we can get all this damage through, our opponent can't crack fetch lands anymore. And that would be great news. Yeah, there's a Resto. We're gonna fetch. Get... I think we want to get Indatha Triumph. So if we draw a Prismatic End, we can X4. Fatal Push Resto. You can draw a card with Codal, that's fine. And then we can play Shambling Vent and Lingering Souls. Our opponent goes down, either goes to 1 or loses an Ice Fang Codal, loses an Ice Fang Codal, goes to 2. Shambling Vent, Lingering Souls. Alright, pass the turn. See what our opponent's got. They gotta do it this turn, and it's gotta be big. Damn, can you imagine how much easier this game would have been if I had Intangible Virtue in play? Would have been so much damage this entire game. Alright, sweet. Got match 1. Against a really strong mid-range deck too. Or toolboxing mid-range combo, whatever you want to call Yorion, Kiki, Chord. But I'll see you in the next one. Alright, round 2 with black-white tokens. We won the die roll again. This hand is great, other than that it only has 1 land. So we got them all again. Unfortunately, we're playing against Allura's deck. We have a 1-lander again. Hey. This hand's even worse on just 1 land, so I think I got a mulligan again. Alright. Let's keep Marsh Flats, Concealed Courtyard, Lingering Souls, Intangible Virtue, Prismatic End to get Ragavan, I think. Feels bad to go down to 5, but gotta do what you gotta do sometimes. Let's play Concealed Courtyard, pass the turn. I would rather draw a third land, so I don't want to crack Marsh Flats quite yet. Opponent plays Darkslake Shores. Ruin Crab. Oh. Alright, well we're ending the crab. Definitely ending the crab. Play Marsh Flats. I mean, I think I just have to crack it now and hope that they don't have traps yet. Get Godless Shrine, pass the turn. Please no traps. No Archive Trap, hallelujah. Another Ruin Crab. Mills us for 3. If they mill our other 2 Lingering Souls, that could be nice at least. Alright, opponent. Alright, we drew a third land. We play Intangible Virtue. I wasn't specifically planning against the mill deck with this deck, if I'm being honest. So I don't have really sideboard options for them. We'll see how it goes, I guess. Rest in Peace doesn't seem correct because them milling our Lingering Souls seems like a beneficial enough interaction. I mean, I guess Duress comes in, maybe Kaya. Yeah, because Kaya can get the crabs and stuff, but... Pray for me that they don't have Surgical for our Lingering Souls, that'd be so sad. We have a few high mana cost cards, so we might be able to survive Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Because the Spectral Processions are CMC 6. Opponent mills a Lingering Souls, so if we draw an untapped land, we can play 2 of them and get a bunch of tokens. Yeah, there's... God damn it. Ah. I mean, I guess I could play a sideboard Emrakul if I wanted to beat this deck. We draw a land for Sorin, so that's something. I think I just want to get a token out of Sorin right now. Get in for 4. And pray to God that we're fast enough, since our opponent has not trapped us yet. Opponent mills us for 6 again. We go to 24 cards in library. Opponent draws a bunch of cards. Surgical Spectral Procession. Yikes. Might mean that they're lining up a Tasha's Hideous Laughter. Yep, there's Tasha's. We go down to 8 cards. Jesus Christ. We get a Prismatic End. Okay. We can Prismatic End you at least. So we're not facing down at least 6 mill. If our opponent just somehow doesn't have any mill spells in their hand, maybe we can get there. We have enough damage that we can kill them next turn. Opponent goes to 3. Pass the turn. What you got, opponent? I assume some amount of mill. God, that's a lot of exiled cards. Yeah, all the surgical extractions definitely complicates the flashback Lingering Souls plan. Opponent passes. Are we going to get there? I mean, I'm going to try to. Animate Shambling Vent. Plus Sorin. We got there! What the hell? 6 cards left in our library. That's incredible. Alright. Alright. Kaya seems good. Vindicate seems probably good. It gets lands, I guess. Duress seems good. We can cut... Legion's Landing seems like not the thing to be doing. Kaya's Guile... I mean, it's another way to get rid of a creature, I suppose. I don't want to get rid of a lot of high-cost things, so I don't really want to cut any Spectral Processions, I don't think. Maybe I cut Battle Screeches? I don't want to cut Fatal Push or Prismatic End because I think getting rid of the crabs is too important. Thoughtseize and Inquisition are both good. Intangible Virtue is an important part of the clock. Bitter Blossom... Honestly, Bitter Blossom might be too slow against this deck. And it's kind of low CMC. I don't think I've cut Bitter Blossom before though, so I'm not really sure. Let's cut... Let's see, I'm cutting 2 1-drops. If I cut Battle Screech, I'm bringing in 2 1-drops and 2 3-drops. That doesn't really change the CMC that much. Yeah, let's try it like that. I don't really want to cut Bitter Blossom. I think it's just too powerful of a play on turn 2. Alright, we don't have... We don't have black mana in our opener, but if we draw black mana, we have Kaya, which is a pretty powerful sideboard card against them, and Thoughtseize. And if we draw any of our white lands, we can start playing Spectral Procession. This might be a bit greedy of a hand, but after all that mulliganing last game, I think I just want to keep it. Like, this is a much better hand if I have either one more land that can cast Spectral Procession or a black source. But I kind of have mulligan PTSD, I think, currently. Ruin Crab. Shambling Vent, okay. That takes care of our mana issues. We can play Intangible Virtue next turn, and then Kaya and downtick on one of these crabs, probably. And then plan to do it again the turn afterward. Opponent has 4 cards in hand. We're getting milled a decent amount here. Luckily, we're not going to be fetching anytime soon, I don't think. Opponent Surgicals or Lingering Souls. We don't have any of those in our hand, haha. But also, very sad that our Lingering Souls is already getting got. Yep, Jesus Christ. All that mill. Oh my god. There goes our Spectral Processions. Opponent has 2 cards in hand. So Kaya might be able to get him pretty good. But things are looking really bad right now. Do I Thoughtseize while they only have 2 cards in hand? Probably. Why did I tap a white for Thoughtseize? Alright, I'm gonna Thoughtseize them, hopefully get like a Tasha's Hideous Laughter or something. Echoing Truth, Archive Trap. I'll take Archive Trap. I don't care about Echoing Truth so much since it doesn't mill us. Let's see what our opponent draws. Doesn't look like they drew a land. Hopefully they did not draw a counterspell. We draw Vindicate. Interesting. Alright, I'm gonna try for Kaya now. Then I might Vindicate a land next turn. Minus on you. Opponent Echoing Truths are Kaya for some reason, instead of Echoing Truthing their Ruin Crab. I guess either way it isn't great for them, but I do just get to play Kaya again. Downtick your Kaya. Downtick my Kaya, rather. It's not your Kaya, it's my Kaya. We draw Bitter Blossom. Alright, let's play it. Start getting a board. I think Vindicate's going to happen next turn. Kaya get Archive Trap, get Echoing Truth. Pass the turn. Opponent passes again, sweet. Our life total goes down by 1. Hopefully that doesn't matter at any point. We draw land plus Kaya, get Surgical. Opponent left Lingering Souls in our graveyard. I just realized. I'm going to go ahead and Vindicate the land now. But that's important. I don't think I'm going to crack this Flooded Strand ever. Unless I thought sees our opponent again. Right, opponent Fatal pushes the Fairy. I don't care about that. Opponent plays Field of Ruin. That's fine. Let's Inquisition them. No Archive Trap. Sweet. Take Atasha's. Go ahead and fetch. Get Savai Triumph. Play Intangible Virtue. I should have got Godless Shrine so I could get Lingering Souls back, but whatever. Target. Opponent has 8 cards in exile currently, and Kaya is at the point where I can start dealing damage with it. Play the other Intangible Virtue. Flashback the Lingering Souls our opponent forgot to exile. Fractured Identity. Mills us some. Plus Kaya. We attack for 3. Alright, we've got our opponent dead next turn. Between Kaya and the fairies. / spirits. Hedron Crab. Sweet! Alright. 2-0 with black-white tokens. Let's see if we can keep it up. Alright, round 3 of black-white tokens in Modern. We lost the die roll this time. Let's see if we can keep up the good luck from the other games. We got a mulligan this for sure. We're playing against a Kahira deck. I assume that's elementals. Could be blue-white control though. Let's mulligan. Alright, this is keepable. Let's just get rid of a land. I think just basic swamp. Our hand is fairly slow, but we'll see what happens. Play Shambling Vent, pass the turn. Opponent leads on Flooded Strand. Still could be either elementals or blue-white control based on that. Rogran Triumph. Hollowed Fountain. Let's play Godless Shrine tapped. I think I'm currently planning on saving Savai Triumph to cycle. Opponent plays a land and passes. It looks a lot like blue-white control right now with just Rogran Triumph for Prismatic End, probably. Let's play Vault of the Archangel. I suspect they have counterspells, so I don't want to go for the Vindicate on their land yet. Cast Lingering Souls. If they have a force, this probably gets it out of their hand. They do not counter it. We pass to our opponent. Play a Flooded Strand. Opponent cracks it. Gets an island again. Gets a Jace. Okay. Jace versus Lingering Souls, the classic matchup. I think... There's a decent chance they have Solitude in their hand. I'm not quite sure if I want to Vindicate a land or Jace. Because I can just attack Jace down. So I could Vindicate Jace, I could Battle Screech, flash it back and hit Jace for 1, or I could hit Jace for 2 and play Lingering Souls. I don't think that I'm going to animate Shambling Vent here because I think it's a bit too likely that he has Solitude. I think I'm going to go for the Vindicate on Jace. That way if he has a force, we at least get it out of his hand. Alright, opponent did not force it. We will play a tapped Godless Shrine and attack our opponent for 2. Spreading Seas on Shambling Vent. Very sad. We draw another Lingering Souls. Let's attack our opponent for 2. Flashback a Lingering Souls. Play tapped Godless Shrine. I don't think I want to commit more to the board right now, because it's fairly likely that they'll be able to Wrath. Opponent draws cards with Archmage's Charm. Supreme Verdict, yep. Collective Brutality. Alright, let's see what's in our opponent's hand. And then I can linger afterward. Or possibly cast Battle Screech. Prismatic End, Archmage's Charm, Solitude to Fairy. Let's get Archmage's Charm. Their hand currently is not very good against a bunch of tokens. So that's good at least. Like they could Prismatic End a couple tokens, but that's pretty much it. And they don't have another Wrath yet. So that's great news. Pass the turn. Opponent plays Teferi, I assume bouncing a bird token. They might bounce and replay Spreading Seas though. Okay, yeah, they bounce a token. Other removal spell on bird token, I assume? Yep. How many Wraths do you think they play? 3? Chalice on 1. That's not actually the end of the world. We draw another Lingering Souls. That's great news. Cast a Lingering Souls. So this means I can make a really big board right now, and then still have a Lingering Souls left over in case they have a Wrath. Alright, pass the turn. Lingering Souls and Savitrum are our cards in hand. Opponent has a Prismatic End, a Solitude, and I think 2 unknowns. We draw Legion's Landing. Let's go ahead and cast that. Oh, we can't. God damn it. Fuck. I'm an idiot. Okay. Go to combat. I'm going to attack Teferi with 3 because we know about Solitude, and I'd like to get Teferi off the board. And attack our opponent with 3. Solitude can exile something, but it can't block anything because they all have flying, so that's nice. We know 2 cards in our opponent's hand currently. Yeah, because Castle Vantress was in hand. So this, and this are gone. We know 2 cards. Opponent's about to cast Solitude. Get our 1/1 with it, I suppose. We're still attacking Teferi with 2, so it doesn't matter all that much. I could get some lifelink on here. I don't think I care that much about it. Alright, so I could Lingering Souls again and get 4 more boys. That would get rid of my opponent's Solitude, so it's kind of tempting. It's fairly unlikely that they draw a Wrath. And I think we have to play to win rather than to just not lose. So I think we gotta go for it. Alright, cross your fingers for me. No Wrath this turn. Solitude's out of our opponent's hand. They have 2 cards that we don't know about and a Prismatic End. They attack us with the Solitude. Hopefully this doesn't mean they have a Wrath, but it might, but these don't have... These can't be blocked by Solitude anyway, so it makes sense why he would attack in. Even if he doesn't have a Wrath. Does opponent have another Solitude? Oh, that's disappointing. Alright. Opponent has 2 Solitudes. So at this point, Vault of the Archangel, I think, is going to be doing a lot of work for us, having Death Touch on these. Opponent puts Kahira into hand. We draw Marsh Flats, we'll play that. Let's attack, 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 attack. Yeah, I think I want to leave back 3 blockers so they can Prismatic End 1, and I still have 2 blockers for the Solitudes. Pass the turn. Opponent goes to 9. They can go back up to 15. Possibly more if they play Kahira before attacking. They do play Kahira before attacking, okay. Well, I'm glad I ran out the other Lingering Souls. Opponent attacks with both. Activate Vault of the Archangel. Block. Block. Alright, 2 Solitudes down. Our opponent's at 17 now, unfortunately. I think I'm gonna Activate Marsh Flats to thin because I'm not too worried about having Fatal Push online. Fetch. I'll leave the other Triumph in the deck because it's at least a redraw, so I'll just get a basic Plains here. We draw. Shambling Vent. Let's attack with the boys. Leave one back in case I want to kill something with Vault of the Archangel. In case they have another Solitude, I would not like them to keep getting lifelink. Play Shambling Vent. Pass the turn. So if I don't activate Vault of the Archangel, I'm gonna cycle Savai Triome. Opponent gets to scry with Castle Vantress. Let's see if they keep anything on top. Both on the bottom. Sweet. Opponent scries on upkeep. They're digging. Blue-white control playing Chalice of the Voids is very funny to me. I'm not sure that it reflects very positively on the meta, but it's a really funny thing to be happening. Will opponent attack with Kahira? They will not. Alright, so we're cycling Savai Triome. It looks like. Opponent Prismatic ends. Our guy, they get their thing countered with Chalice of the Void. So at least that happened to both of us. We no longer know any cards in our opponent's hand. Opponent has one card in hand. We draw Prismatic End. Untap. We draw Inquisition. Let's see what the last card is. At least we're both doing it. Jesus Christ. Alright. God. Looks like opponent's about to cast their card. Archmage's Charm. Okay. We attack. I'll give myself lifelink. Have a little extra life padding just in case it becomes relevant. Pass the turn. I'm going to hold on to the Prismatic End. We can Prismatic End X3 currently. Oh no. Teferi is bad news for sure. Opponent gets to draw an extra card. Opponent hits us for 3. That's fine. Opponent untaps 2 lands. We draw Sorin. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I have enough mana that I can cast Sorin and then also activate Shambling Vent, it looks like. Let's see if our opponent got a counterspell. I think I'm going to try to kill Teferi first, because I would very much like that off the board, and I'll see if my opponent wants to trade Kahira for Shambling Vent, because I'm sort of fine with that at this point. What's our opponent got? Scries with Castle Vantress. That's not the end of the world. At least we're getting rid of their Planeswalker, so that's something. Yeah, opponent can either take 3 or save Kahira to try to hit Sorin. Either option is not fantastic for them. Okay, opponent does kill their Kahira. And Sorin's gone. We're at 32 life. Even if our opponent gets a top deck Wrath now, we have a Sorin, so we can rebuild kind of quickly. Opponent Castle Vantress is on upkeep. I might use this Prismatic End on Spreading Seas here for some surprise damage. Yeah, I'm definitely doing that now. Because we can attack and try to get our opponent down to 1. Go to combat. Attack with the boys. Opponent has Castle Vantress. Thought that was a Solitude for a second, but it's not. Alright, so it looks like opponent doesn't have anything because they can't crack their Polluted Delta with the damage they're taking. And they can't play any 1-drops because of their own Chalice. Alright, opponent's at 1. Let's see if they can do anything. They need a Wrath and then also removal for Shambling Vent. To be not dead right this second. Okay, sweet. So what do we bring in? Vindicate seems good. Duresses seem good. Kaya, maybe? I feel like I could go either way on Kaya. It can get Chalices, I guess, so that's kind of nice. What do we want to take out is the real question. I think Fatal Push probably isn't good enough. I think could probably cut a Legion's Landing and like 1 Battle Screech and then add Kaya. Because then Kaya's a non-creature threat that we can use. Rest in Peace probably not good enough. I didn't see any Snapcasters. And even if they did have Snapcasters, Lingering Souls is a bit too important in this matchup for us, I think. Yeah, let's play it like that. Maybe Void Mirror is actually worth it. It only turns off Solitude and Force of Negation though, I think, so it's probably not. If we lose this game, we'll at least have a game 3, so I'll be able to reevaluate. I feel like I bring in the second Vindicate a lot. Maybe 2 Vindicates in the main deck is correct. I don't think I go all the way up to 4, but occasionally Vindicating a land and having the option of just dealing with any problem permanent like a Planeswalker or something is very, very useful. This hand seems okay. We need to draw a little bit more lands, but we have a really powerful turn 2 play, and then assuming that we draw lands, we have a lot of tokens finishers. So I think we gotta keep this. There's a decent chance we draw some lands before turn 3. Sorin is like the opposite of a land though. Alright, Shambling Vent. Pass the turn. Rest in Peace, okay. Well, I'm glad we didn't bring in Rest in Peace because that'd feel really silly right now. Hopefully our opponent can't Prismatic End or Bitter Blossom immediately. Opponent plays Teferi. Bounces Bitter Blossom, okay. Well, we didn't draw land, but we're going to replay Bitter Blossom. See if we can get it to stick around for a little while. We'd like to draw lands pretty bad now. Yeah, opponent. Prismatic End's Bitter Blossom. Unfortunate. We draw Collective Brutality. Alright, lacking lands is really, really bad for us here. Let's get Archmage's Charm. Opponent has a Solitude and a Force in hand. As long as we start drawing lands, our opponent doesn't actually have the strongest hand ever. We draw Prismatic End. Duress our opponent. Take Force, I assume. And then hopefully draw land so we can Vindicate Teferi next turn, I think. Opponent draws Celestial Purge. Spicy. Not the end of the world for us, though. It is spot removal. It can get rid of Sorin. Hilariously, it could have gotten rid of Bitter Blossom. Opponent's going to get to start scrying. That's unfortunate. Once we draw land, definitely Field of Ruining this, and definitely Vindicating this. And I'll probably Prismatic End Rest in Peace once I can, too. Opponent pluses Teferi. We draw. God damn it. This really sucks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, I'm gonna discard Spectral Procession, I think. Opponent activates Castle Vantress. Yikes. Alright, well there's a target for our other Prismatic End, I suppose. We discard Spectral Procession, pass the turn. The reason I discarded Spectral Procession is it costs white, 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 so we're pretty far away from being able to cast that. And he has an answer to one of our Sorns, so I'd like to keep around at least one of them. If we can get back in this game from how far behind we are, I'll be truly impressed with this deck. Alright, Prismatic End the 3/3. At least we're not discarding to hand size this turn. Pass the turn. Our opponent plus Teferi again instead of cashing it in to draw a card, interestingly. Or instead of going back down to 1 to draw a card, rather. Opponent scries, puts them both on the bottom. Draws a card with Teferi. Gets the other Teferi. Alright, we really want to be able to cast Vindicate. Come on, untapped land. Alright, that's an untapped land. I'm going to go for Vindicate on Big Teferi. I think that's pretty much the only shot that we still have. Alright, Big Teferi down, thank God. Intangible Virtue. I'm going to Field of Ruin your Castle Vantress. This gets them more white mana so they can cast Solitude, unfortunately, but I think it's worth getting rid of the Castle Vantress anyway. We're going to get a Swamp so we can cast Inquisition. I'm going to move to my second main phase so they lose the extra mana, in case it becomes relevant. Opponent draws cards with Archmage's Charm, that's fine. Well, now they don't have floating mana, so I might as well Inquisition now, I guess. Opponent. Dovin's Veto's Inquisition, interesting. Hopefully we draw another land. That would be nice. Opponent puts Kahira into their hand. That's okay. We draw Prismatic End. Alright, let's go for a Prismatic End on Rest in Peace. See if it resolves. Opponent has 6 cards in hand. There's a decent chance they can counter it, but we at least have another Prismatic End now. Hell, there's a decent chance they have another Rest in Peace at this point. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. Gets a land. Opponent. I assume they have a counterspell. 2, 3. Archmage's Charm. Okay. We pass the turn. If we draw an untapped land next turn, we get to Prismatic End on Rest in Peace. Cross our fingers that that goes well, and then cast Intangible Virtue. And that seems pretty strong. I'd like to get some tokens on the board before I play Sorin. Opponent pluses to Fairy. We draw Marsh Flats. Alright, let's play Marsh Flats. Let's Prismatic End Rest in Peace again. See if it works. Opponent has 7 cards in hand. We know 2 of them. Force is gone. Where did the other Solitude come from? Did it get revealed somewhere? I don't think so. And we know Kahira, so we know 3 cards in their hand, actually. Okay. Prismatic End resolves. I assume that means that they don't have counter spells. So I'm going to go for Intangible Virtue now. See if that works. They're probably going to bounce it with Teferi, but that's not the end of the world. Opponent cycles Shark Typhoon. Okay. I mean, at least they're not casting the Shark Typhoon, frankly. They have enough mana to. Opponent Spreading Seas our land, which is unfortunate, but it means if we draw the 4th Prismatic Ending, we can cast it X3. So that's something, I guess. If we draw land, we can Lingering Souls here, and that seems pretty strong. I think double Lingering Souls. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good plan. We draw Spectral Procession. Alright, we'll cast Procession then. Oh, we can't cast Procession. I don't have all the white mana. Alright. I'm casting Lingering Souls. But just one of them, unfortunately. Counterspell. Yep, regular counterspell. Alright, next turn we can flash it back and cast Intangible Virtue. If I draw a white, I could cast Spectral Procession and flashback Lingering Souls, which is also pretty good. Opponent has 7 damage on board currently. We need to stick some blockers, otherwise we're just going to die. Teferi can remove one thing. We have to be able to block everything. We drew Prismatic End. Alright, let's go for the last Prismatic End on the 4/4, see if that works. No counterspells, please. And there's a counterspell. Alright, so we can cast the Lingering Souls, we get 2 boys. They can just bounce one with Teferi, so that's game. We put up more of a fight than I thought with that game, frankly, for missing our 3rd land drop for several turns. We got to turn 13. Alright. Definitely don't want to bring in Rest in Peace. I don't think I want Void Mirror. Maybe I want to bring Battle Screech back in. I like getting tokens with Legion's Landing a bit too much. The extra tokens, that is. Maybe I want Fatal Push back if he's going to be making Shark tokens. Kaya definitely seems good. Vindicate definitely seems good. I think I just run it back as it is. Hope for the best. Hopefully don't get stuck on lands again, but we'll see what happens. Yes, we would love to take the play. We got our mana fixing, we got Bitter Blossom and Intangible Virtue, and we have Sorin. I mean, I think we keep this. I can go turn 1 Shambling Vent, turn 2 Concealed Courtyard, Bitter Blossom, turn 3 Shambling Vent, Intangible Virtue. Seems pretty strong. And we get at least one turn where they can't... Alright. We'll see what happens. We did see Force last game, so we know that they're playing at least a few of them. And they didn't side them out. Concealed Courtyard. Cast Bitter Blossom. No counterspells, please. No Prismatic Ends, please. Force of Negation. God damn it. What did our opponent exile? Shark Typhoon. You know what? I'm okay with that. Shark Typhoon's scary enough that I'm okay with losing a bit of value to it. Spreading Seas or Shambling Vent. What an asshole. Let's play another Shambling Vent. Play Intangible Virtue. We drew Marsh Flats, so next turn we can go for Sorin. Opponent left mana up. I don't really trust that. I think I just want to play Field of Ruin. Pass the turn. I'm going to plan on Field of Ruining their Castle Vantress before they can do anything particularly spicy with it. Yeah, opponent draws cards with Archmage's Charm. That's great. I was gonna play Sorin and downtick, but I was afraid of Archmage's Charm stealing the token and then killing Sorin. So that works out fine, actually. Let's set a stop on our opponent's upkeep. If they play a Jace or a Teferi this turn, I don't want them to have the extra mana. So I want to Field of Ruin them sooner rather than later. We can get a basic Plains. Alright. I think I'd like to draw Lingering Souls soon. Or similar token generator. Because of Intangible Virtue value. Prismatic Ends are Intangible Virtue. That's okay, we have another one. Opponent has Dovin's Veto set / Counterspell up. Let's play Marsh Flats. I think I want to make him have to have the counterspell. So I'm going to go for Sorin. Because at least he can't Archmage's Charm this turn. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. It looks like they have the counterspell. Opponent gets a Breeding Pool. Cast Counterspell. That's fine. Alright, opponent has 4 cards in hand. We pass the turn. We are even in rectangles currently. Hopefully we draw a decent token generator soon, because it's pretty much just what we're missing. We have a lot of them in our deck too. Crack Marshflats. Opponent got another Castle Vantress. That kind of sucks for us. Let's get Godless Shrine tapped. Untap, we drew Prismatic End. Cast Intangible Virtue. Our opponent could cast Solitude without having to evoke it this turn, so I don't want to attack in with Shambling Vent. If I'm gonna get my Shambling Vent dealt with, I want to at least get 2 cards out of my opponent's hand for it instead of let them have a 2-for-1. And I'm going to plan on cycling Savai at end of turn. Let's get rid of this upkeep stop. We need to draw more Lingering Souls. It's pretty much our best card in this matchup, and we haven't drawn any yet this game. We're about 1/4 of the way through our deck, so there should be one anytime now. Opponent Prismatic Ends our Intangible Virtue. That sucks, but it's fine. Opponent plays a land. 3 cards in our opponent's hand. They pass with 4 mana up. We cycle Savitra and we get a Battle Screech. We draw Spectral Procession. Alright, I think I cast Battle Screech here. Unfortunate we don't have our Intangible Virtues or our Sorin, but it's a token generator. Let's see if they counter it. Alright, our opponent did not counter it. We pass. So, cool synergy with Battle Screech. We could Spectral Procession, get exactly 3 white creatures with flying, and then flashback Battle Screech. So that's kind of sweet. We know our opponent has Wraths in their deck. They haven't used any yet, so I'm reluctant to commit completely to the board. Opponent plays Teferi. I assume they downtick on a bird token. Let's see if he uses removal for the other one. Otherwise I'm going to pressure the Teferi. Opponent plays another Teferi. Gets rid of the bird token. Let's see what we draw. I could attack in with Shambling Vent. I assume he has a Solitude in his hand, otherwise he probably wouldn't be playing like this, and we're deep enough into his deck that it's more likely than not that he has Solitude. We draw Plains. That's great. It's pretty much exactly what I wanted. So I can Prismatic End Teferi. See if it resolves. X is 3 because he gave us blue mana. And then I can cast Spectral Procession into Battle Screech and hope that he doesn't have a Wrath. See if Procession resolves. With Battle Screech, it's more... With Battle Screech, in my experience, it's better to just commit more to the board because the flashback cost is already having a board, so you might as well do it while you can. Where Lingering Souls, it might be better to leave in your graveyard in a situation like this. Battle Screech, you pretty much have to get back. And then just cross your fingers. Moto's starting to lag, that's unfortunate. Especially in a matchup like this where time matters. Yeah, opponent had Supreme Verdict, that sucks. Let's Inquisition them, see if we can safely get in with Shambling Vent. Kahira, Solitude, Solitude, Supreme Verdict. Jesus God. Alright, I'm gonna attack in with Shambling Vent, and if he wants to discard 2 cards, you know what, I'm fine with that. White, black, blue. Go to combat. So opponent does have another Wrath in their hand. If they exile, we know exactly what their hand is, so if they Solitude or Shambling Vent, we will know what's up. They do not. Alright, pass the turn. See what our opponent wants to do. We're probably not attacking with Shambling Vent anytime soon. We know they don't have, or at least it's unlikely that they have a counterspell currently. Opponent plays a Jace. Jesus Christ. That's unfortunate. Let's see what we draw. Jace is pretty bad news. It's a very good top deck for our opponent where they were. Opponent plays a land. Tapped. Interesting. So they can't cast Solitude. Opponent plays a Teferi. Jesus Christ. Ah! I'm dying. We draw Godless Shrine. That is not good enough. Alright, I'm gonna attack him at Jace. Play Godless Shrine. Pass the turn. I think double Planeswalker pretty much does it for us. Our opponent can draw 5 cards each of their turns, and also scry extra with Castle Vantress just in case it matters. They have a Wrath and 2 Solitudes that we know about they have access to. I mean, they're even plussing Jace to Fate Seal us at this point. Opponent gets a Celestial Colonnade. Untaps it with Teferi. That's a cool synergy. Let's duress them, and then I think I'm just going to concede. Alright, they have Solitude, Solitude, Supreme Verdict. I'm going to concede. There's pretty much no way we can get back in this even if we draw our best token generators. So GG's to our opponent. And I will see you in round 4. Alright, round 4 with black-white tokens. We lost the die roll again. Our opponent's playing a Gigantha deck. We have pretty decent hand. Bitter Blossom, Intangible Virtue, Collective Brutality. So we have a decent clock and some flexible interaction. And we have 4 lands, one of which we might pitch to Collective Brutality. We'll see. And we will keep it. Which Gigantha deck do you think our opponent's on? Looks like it's Tron. Oh, fuck. Alright. Tron is a classically bad matchup for the black-white tokens deck. I mean, along with every other mid-range deck, but maybe with some of the new cards like Vindicate and Void Mirror, we'll be able to make up for that. Looks like Sylvan's crying, so our opponent is going to get Tron online. Yep. I mean, I guess I just have to play Bitter Blossom and hope that they don't have Karn Liberated. Crack Marsh Flats, get a Triumph. Untap. We draw Fatal Push. Play Marsh Flats. Crack it. Getting a Godless Shrine. Bitter Blossom. Alright, cross your fingers for me. Opponent's got 7 mana on turn 3, plays Karn Liberated, my god. I assume down ticks on Bitter Blossom, yeah. We'll see what we draw. We draw Lingering Souls. Alright, I mean, Lingering Souls is boys, and we do have Intangible Virtue, so I'm not going to concede quite yet. Although I feel very defeated. God, we can't even kill Karn with these tokens, because he +4s, Jesus Christ. Let's see. Fatal Push is not doing anything. Let's get rid of that. At least it's easy to decide what to discard to Karn. Right? Hopefully our opponent doesn't have a second finisher to play this turn. We might be able to fight through one Karn Liberated. Ancient Stirrings makes me think that we're probably dead, though. Let's see what they get with it. Warping Whale. That's not a finisher, at least. It kills one of our tokens, but it's not a finisher. Expedition Map. Chrome Sphere. Puts Gigantha into hand, so they still have Warping Whale. We draw Prismatic End. I wonder if I can Intangible Virtue and they'll forget about Warping Whale. Another play I could make is go for Prismatic End on Expedition Map. They probably crack it, and then I get Intangible Virtue down and can hit Karn for 4, but I'd really like to flashback Lingering Souls here. Alright, they let it through. Let's flashback Lingering Souls. Attack Karn for 4, so if he wants to get rid of Intangible Virtue, he has to cash in this Karn. And then we have another Intangible Virtue. Opponent gets a Yavimaya. That's okay. We can Prismatic Index 4 currently. Oblivion Stone, that's lame. Let's get rid of Collective Brutality. Seems fairly useless unless our opponent's at 2 in this matchup. I wonder if our opponent cracks Oblivion Stone. One, two, three, four, 5. Opponent plays Relic. Passes. We draw Lingering Souls. Interesting. Let's go to combat. Attempt to kill Karn. Opponent cracks Oblivion Stone. They lose their Relic. We get to... I think I go Lingering Souls. Since he got rid of his Relic, it's possible he has another Relic, but I'm not that concerned about it. And we have another Intangible Virtue in our hand. Pass the turn. Opponent plays another Urza's Mine. Drawing Vindicate at some point would be pretty fantastic still, because we can get them off Tron. Another Karn Liberated. Gets Prismatic End. Prismatic End doesn't do that much, I suppose, so... Plays Gigantha. Yup, yup. We draw. Vindicate. Yes, please. Alright, opponent, please do not have... more of this horse shit. Go to combat. I don't want to get rid of my spirit tokens. They're a bit too valuable, so I'm attacking in with both of them. And then hopefully, if all goes well, our opponent just like plays a land and passes. And we get to flashback Lingering Souls and play Intangible for 2 next turn. And then we might actually have a shot at this. Opponent hits us for 5. Let's see what their follow-up is. Relic. God damn it. Alright, there goes the second Lingering Souls. Shit. I think our opponent still has Warping Well in their hand, too. And an Ugin. Alright. God, Tron just has so many finishers. We draw. An Inquisition. You know what? I'll do it out of spite. See what our opponent has. Take their Warping Whale. Take one of their Warping Whales. And concede. Alright. That went poorly, but it went better than I thought it would, frankly. But it still didn't go great. Alright. Vindicate. Yes. Void Mirror. Double yes. Stony Silence, maybe. I mean, it turns off a lot of their cantrips and stuff, so it's probably worth it. Duress is probably better than Inquisition of Kozilek. Alright, let's see what we're taking out. Fatal Push seems awful. It pretty much just gets like worm tokens. Kaya's Guile seems bad because they don't care about their graveyard. They don't care about us gaining life. It only makes a 1/1, and they don't really care about sacrificing creatures. So yeah, we can take that out safely. We can take out probably all 3 Inquisitions. And I think I just run it like that. Timely Reinforcements, no. Settle the Wreckage, no. Damn, no. Kaya might be okay, but it's probably not. I think I'd rather just keep more of a clock. Alright, let's try it like that. So we have 2 Vindicates, 2 Field of Ruins for land destruction, and we have some Stony Silences and some Void Mirrors. Alright, we have Void Mirror and Duress. Let's keep. I think I'm just going to go on tapped land and pass. Try to get Void Mirror down sooner rather than later, I think. Void Mirror isn't a hard lock against them because they do play Forest and stuff. But it can slow them down pretty significantly. I'm considering Prismatic End on that and duressing them here. I think I like that play. Duress our opponent. Sylvan Scrying, Return to Nature, Ancient Stirrings, and Forest. And they have Natty Tron in their hand, because of course they do. Let's take Return to Nature. Crack the Marsh Flats. Get a Godless Shrine, yes. And do I want a Prismatic End on Expedition map, or do I want to Legion's Landing? I think I'm going to keep on the disruption route. Legion's Landing just makes a 1/1, so it's not that powerful yet. And maybe if we draw land, we can go Legion's Landing, Void Mirror this turn or something. Grafdigger's Cage, that's annoying. Marsh Flats, okay. Void Mirror. So if they drew one of their 7 mana payoffs, they have to at least wait a turn now. Crack Marsh Flats, get a Plains. Legion's Landing. Pass the turn, hope for the best. Opponent plays a Forest. Ancient Stirrings, showing Oblivion Stone. So we've seen Power Plant, we've seen Forest, we've seen Ancient Stirrings, and they haven't put Giganta in their hand yet. We draw another Void Mirror. That's a pretty good draw. I think I want to go ahead and play Bitter Blossom here. Go attacking. Maybe that wasn't right, but I felt like it's possible that our opponent will just play Oblivion Stone and not activate it since we can't kill them very quickly, so I felt like we needed to incentivize it a little bit more. Opponent plays O-Stone. And we are at least going to get their Grafdigger's Cage off the board with Oblivion Stone, it looks like. We get a Fairy with Bitter Blossom. We draw Vindicate. Interesting. Let's go to combat. Attack our opponent. Do I Vindicate Urza's Tower, or do I Vindicate the Forest? I probably just Vindicate Urza's Tower because I don't want to be that greedy. See if it resolves. I assume he's going to pop O-Stone in response. Yep, pops O-Stone. Loses Urza's Tower. Let's see what our opponent does. Plays another Urza's Tower because of course they do. Karn liberated. Down takes on our land. We draw a Shambling Vent, and we concede. Tron. Alright, see you in the next one. Alright, round 5. We're playing against the Luris deck. We have basically one less land than we would like to with this hand, so we got a mulligan. I'm gonna mulligan again. There's just not enough playables in this. Oh my god. Alright, keep. Alright, so I'm gonna keep land, Bitter Blossom, Intangible Virtue, I think, and just kind of hope for the best. That was a really rough set of mulligans there. I've been mulliganing a lot this league. I'm not gonna lie. Hopefully our opponent just doesn't disrupt these couple plays, because it could at least help us make up for the lack of cards in hand by having a wide board. Our opponent mulliganed to 6 at least, but we'll see what happens. Opponent plays Ragavan. Who could have guessed? We draw Spectral Procession. We can't cast that for a little while. But at least it's a spell, I guess. Opponent hits us with the monkey. Gets a Godless Shrine. Thank God they didn't get a Thoughtseize off of our deck with it. They could still Thoughtseize us here, though. I really hope we get to resolve this Bitter Blossom. I think that's pretty much our hope. Alright, discarding Spectral Procession to Croxa. Opponent has 3 cards in hand currently. They have a Croxa in their graveyard. We draw another Spectral Procession. We cast Bitter Blossom. Does it resolve? It does. Okay. Good start. Good start to recovery, at least. Not a good start to this game. Being down 3 cards. Alright. And our opponent gets a Prismatic End, so they can deal with our Bitter Blossom. I'm at least hopeful for Game 2 and Game 3 of this matchup, because we should be pretty good against the Grixis mid-range decks. But my god. Did we have to mulligan a lot? I mulliganed a 6 land hand. I mulliganed a 1 land hand into a 6 land hand into a 7 land hand. Like, think about how ridiculous that shit is. Alright, play Bitter Blossom again. Opponent has double Death Shadow, Ragavan. Attacks us for 4. Gets a Lingering Souls. That's terrifying. I mean, if they cast the Lingering Souls, at least it goes to our graveyard, so that's something. Do they cast the Lingering Souls? They put Lurrus into their hand. Okay. We get a token. They probably have a removal spell for it. We draw land. We play Intangible Virtue. Pass the turn. Is it 4 or 5 cards for Croxa? 5. Okay. They Unholy Heat our token. Saw that coming a mile away. Opponent's going to hit us for 4. Gets a Ragavan trigger. I think pretty much our only hope is draw an untapped white source and resolve a Spectral Procession. Because then we have enough cards on the board that we might be able to make some kind of recovery. We're taking a lot of damage to Bitter Blossom relative to our life total, though, unfortunately. And our opponent has Croxa they can get back right now, or Mishra's Bauble, depending. They're probably going to get Croxa. Yeah, they're getting Croxa. Alright, I guess we could draw Lingering Souls. Would be our best top deck. Kaya's Guile would also be an acceptable top deck. Alright. Let's create a 1/1 and exile our opponent's graveyard, I think. Because I really don't want them to... Actually, hold on. There's a decent chance they'll have removal, so I might actually just want them to sacrifice something and then exile their graveyard. That might be a little bit safer. Yeah, because that probably gets rid of a Death Shadow, and there's a decent chance the Death Shadow grows larger than the fairy tokens. I gotta think about this. So they sacrifice a creature, they sacrifice a Death Shadow most likely. They can attack in for with their boys for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We definitely have to exile their graveyard because Croxa is scary. I think... Okay, so they didn't play a Shockland last turn, so I think I might actually have to just make a 1/1 and exile their graveyard. I think that gives us the greater chance of actually being able to win from here. Because we definitely have to block Lurrus. And hopefully our opponent just doesn't get a fetch land or a shock land. Opponent did not get a fetch. That's fantastic. That's a great start. We will block Ragavan. Opponent can just play it again with Lurrus, but we can't take 2, so it is what it is. And we need to figure out a way to gain life before our Bitter Blossom kills us, or before our opponent kills us. Opponent plays Ragavan. They had a second one in their hand. Interesting. They didn't play the one out of the graveyard. So they're going to Mishra's Bauble from their graveyard instead. Alright, our opponent's going to get to draw some cards. We get a Vault of the Archangel. That's a pretty good draw. I think animating Shambling Vent is what I need to do here, and attacking in, hoping to gain some life. Actually, no, that makes the Death Shadows larger. Shit. I can't do that. Now I feel stupid, because I could have had a Shambling Vent as a blocker. That might have been a punt. Well, it was definitely a punt, but it might have cost me the game. Because blocking with lifelink is a decent life swing. If we draw an untapped land, Vault of the Archangel is very, very useful. It doesn't look like our opponent drew a land. Opponent drew a removal spell. One, two, three, four. Yeah, they can just kill us. We can block Lurrus. But because we punted with the Shambling Vent, RIP. Alright, and they had dress down anyway, so these are big as shit, so it doesn't matter. Alright. Well, let's sideboard some. Kaya absolutely comes in. Rest in Peace absolutely comes in. There are some more things I could think about. I'm gonna see what I'm taking out first. I think Thoughtseize comes out. I think Kai's Guile's definitely good. Vindicate's probably good enough. Although I might like Damn better than Vindicate. I think I cut one Battle Screech. I think I cut... Yeah, since I'm bringing in the Rest in Pieces, Battle Screech is much less sexy, so I think I can cut both of those. I think I want the option of possibly drawing a Wrath, so I'll bring in Damn. And honestly, I'm thinking about Timely Reinforcements too, but it's likely that he's going to have less life than me for a while. And I'm not sure what I'd take out for it. Maybe Legion's Landing? Maybe I cut one Legion's Landing, bring in one Timely Reinforcements. That doesn't seem that bad. We'll try it like that. Reinforcements could be particularly good if our opponent like Engineered Explosives away our tokens and then plays a Ragavan or something. Alright, hopefully we don't mulligan into Oblivion again. Because I think if we just had like one or two more cards, we would have actually had a decent shot there. This hand seems fine, we'll keep. We have Rest in Peace and Lingering Souls, which feels a little goofy, but we have plenty of interaction and we have a finisher. And most importantly, I don't have to mulligan. Let's play Flooded Strand, pass the turn, plan on getting a Triumph at end of turn. I might wait on the Rest in Peace and be greedy with Lingering Souls, we'll see. Opponent gets a Blood Crypt, goes to 17. I assume this is a Ragavan, yep. Alright, so we're Prismatic Ending that for sure. So that's at least one turn we're not playing a Rest in Peace. Let's get Savai Triumph. Untap. We We draw Concealed Courtyard, so we'll play one of those. We will Prismatic End your Monkey. Monkey Pirate, best creature typing ever. It goes straight to exile. Next turn I'm going to play Concealed Courtyard Lingering Souls, I think. Because hopefully Rest in Peace doesn't matter for a little while, because it takes a second to set up Croxa, and it takes a while to set up Luris also. Opponent Thought Seizes us. That's going to narrow our options either way. They might take Rest in Peace here, but they could also just take Sorin since it's a threat. I doubt they take Lingering Souls, but I guess they could. I think they probably take Rest in Peace. It could really go either way, I suppose. Rest in Peace turns off a lot of cards in their deck, because it makes Unholy Heat just a shock. A bad shock, because it only goes downstairs. Yeah. And it turns off Drown in the Lock completely, except for 0 drops, which we don't have any of. So our opponent's leaving us with the classic tokens hand, at least. Opponent goes to 12. I assume this is a Death Shadow. Yep. I'm a genius. We draw Plains. Play Concealed Courtyard. Play Lingering Souls. Part 1. Pass the turn. I wonder if I'm going to want to play Sorin or Lingering Souls next turn. If I draw something else to cast, almost for sure Lingering Souls, but Sorin is pretty tempting. Especially with this growing Death Shadow. Opponent Thought Seizes. Alright, there goes the Sorin, so that's not an option anymore. Definitely playing Lingering Souls. Opponent attacks for 4. I think I just take it this time. Go to 15. I draw Inquisition. I will Inquisition you. Let me see what's in there. Opponent is thinking about casting something. I assume a Dress Down. Drown in the Lock, Ragavan, DRC. I am more scared of DRC at this point. Cast Lingering Souls. Pass the turn. Opponent plays Expressive Iteration, so that was their top deck. They have a Ragavan and a Drown in the Lock in their hand. I did not mean to dismiss all of those, but whatever. Opponent gets Polluted Delta, plays another Death Shadow. Unfortunate. Attacks us for 4. I'm going to take it one more time. Hope to draw something good. Intangible Virtue would be really good here. Sorin would be really good here. But Intangible Virtue, attack them down to 1 would be incredible. Alright. So we can do... So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or I could go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. We know both of the cards in our opponent's hand. It's a Ragavan. So our opponent can dash Ragavan, so Collective Brutality is pretty much not going to get rid of it. We could attack our opponent for 3. Opponent would go down to 6. Drain them. They would go down to 4. I could still block 1. I think I need to leave the Collective Brutality in hand currently. Am I attacking is the question. One, 2. Opponent goes to 7. I could drain them down to 5. This is complicated. I think I'm just going to leave the board as is. Get rid of your Drown in the Lock, so they have 1 less removal / counter spell. And I'm going to put Plains into play, so I can draw Lingering Souls and cast both sides of it. I think that's my best shot currently. I'm going to block 1 Death Shadow here, so that I don't take lethal off of the fetch land. We take 5 down to 6. Opponent plays another Death Shadow. Alright, I'd love to draw that Dam. Especially if they play Ragavan here. It looks like they're putting Lurrus into hand though, yeah. Alright, we draw. Prismatic End. I mean, I'm definitely getting rid of a Death Shadow with that. Just so I'm less immediately dead. I can... What can I do? I can't attack because it makes them 6/6s and then Death Shadow's lethal. That was a really unfortunate game 1 for this matchup, and it looks like this one's not gonna do any better for us, unfortunately. Hilariously, we would love to draw Battle Screech right now, but they're both in our sideboard. Rest in Peace actually wouldn't have done that much this game either, because our opponent's biggest threat this game has been a bunch of Death Shadows. Does not shock in the Steam Vent. Dashes Ragavan. Alright, I think I just block all of them and hope to draw Dam. Even if I draw Dam, they have a Lurrus, so they can start replaying their stuff, but let's see. And we draw Godless Shrine. Alright. GG's to our opponent. The last few games were not nearly as good as the first 2, of course. But I'm still pretty happy with how this deck did, honestly.
Hey everyone, Shoe Nice again. Well, basically, go subscribe to Tezzey's YouTube channel. And for those who made it to the end of the video, thank you.